Welcome to National Meatball Day with yours truly, Chef Des, and we're going to do a family favorite, spaghetti and meatballs. I mean, who doesn't love spaghetti and meatballs, right? I mean, it's awesome. Great recipe. I mean, sorry to toot my own horn, but man, this is what I do, folks. If you don't understand this by now, this is what I do. I make sure recipes are easy to follow, make sure that they're tasty, make sure that you guys can make them with no issues whatsoever. And most of all, that's maybe more important than that, that your family and your guests are going to say, wow, you're awesome, right? And who doesn't love that? Everybody loves that. So please, if you can, support me by buying my books, spread the love of the Chef Des Zoom classes. I would really appreciate that. The recipe tonight that we're doing, spaghetti and meatballs, is not in either one of these books. So man, hang on to that recipe because it will not be released in print until I get to my next book, which won't be probably till the end of 2023. So hang on to it. The sauce recipe I did pull from this book here, but I wanted to have a recipe together, spaghetti and meatballs together. So I've made the Italian meatballs. I made the portion size just perfect for the sauce and the spaghetti. So you can just bring the whole dish together and you don't have to try and piece it together yourself. Let's get started. The prep is the onion and the garlic for the meatballs. We're also going to prep together the carrot, the celery, the onion, and garlic for the sauce as well. What I want to do is get all the prep done first before we head to the stovetop and the oven. Let's preheat our oven, shall we, at 400 degrees for the meatballs. For the meatballs, we need 1 tablespoon of finely crushed or minced garlic, 3 cloves of garlic to make our 1 tablespoon of finely crushed or minced garlic. What I want you to have standing by for the meatballs is a large bowl that we have lots of room to combine all the ingredients together with the meat and everything. And we'll prep it right into that bowl. I'm using a garlic press. I prefer this over mincing when I'm making meatballs because the finer you can have your garlic and your onion for that matter, the more it's going to be easier to spread that flavor all the way throughout your meatballs. You have these tiny little meatballs, 3/4 of an inch. You don't want to have a big chunk of garlic in one and there's no chunks of garlic in the other. Another next meatball has like 3 big chunks of garlic. And same thing with the onion. You don't want that. You want them really, really fine, folks. You can spread it easily all the way through and evenly all the way through all the meatballs. For our sauce, I have like a medium-sized bowl standing by. So we have a large-sized bowl for our meatballs and a medium-sized bowl for the pasta sauce ingredients, okay? So a medium to large carrot. So take it, cut it into 3 sections like that, and then take each section and cut it lengthwise so it can sit nice and flat on your board like so. So now we have 6 pieces, and here's what we're going to do. Take each piece and we're going to make thin slices. Once we have the thin slices, we're going to make thin strips. The other thing you can do if you are not comfortable with a knife, you can bust out your food processor and you can pulse it until it's very finely chopped. Then we're going to line up those strips small as you possibly can. Make those very small dice of carrot. And I'm just putting in that medium bowl. 2 large stalks of celery, all right? 2 cuts, make 3 pieces each celery stalk. We're just gonna make strips by working the curvature of that celery. And we're just gonna line up those strips now, just like we did, and as thin as you possibly can. You're making small dice of your celery. And that's all my celery. So we're doing the garlic portion of the sauce, and we have the garlic pressed dirty already, so we're gonna use it. And we're just going to cut off those hard bits and then whack your garlic, beat the garlic. Okay. Show them who's boss here. The Chef Des Zoom classes, right? Just go through, skins fall right off. So we're going to take our bowl with the carrot and the celery, and I'm going to take my garlic press and I'm going to load it up and press it right in. All right. So in here for our sauce, we have our carrot, celery, and garlic. In the sauce, we need 1 whole medium onion, diced very small, which we'll do right now. And then in the meatballs, I have a half an onion, and we just need a couple tablespoons minced, cutting off the hairy bit and cutting off the stem bit. Get rid of those bits. We're going to cut it in half. All right. And now we can peel it. I want you to make thin slices, like 1/4 inch or thinner. And then what you're going to do is you're going to turn the onion a 1/4 turn like this. And look at it, just because it's layers, it just falls apart in small dice. There we go. So adding it to that, I'm going to put that aside. That's for our sauce. Coming back to our large bowl for our meatball ingredients, we just need a couple tablespoons of minced onion. Take a bit of onion, just take a chunk of it. Same as what we just did. Make your small dice first. Once you have small dice, then we can start mincing this thing, okay? And what's mincing is just keep chopping it over and over and over until you have small bits. We have these small little meatballs, 3/4 of an inch, folks. We don't want these huge chunks of onion in there where one meatball has one big chunk, the next meatball has no chunks of onion, next one has 3 big chunks and it's almost falling apart because there's so many big chunks of onion in there. We don't want that. We want them minced. So the finer you could do it, the better. 2 tablespoon measure I have here. So I'm just going to scrape that in. We're going to add that to our large bowl for the meatballs. Beautiful. We're going to do the meatball first. We need 1 large egg. We're just going to crack it in there. Okay. 1/4 cup of fine breadcrumbs. That's our binder. It's going to help keep this together. 1/4 cup of grated Parmesan cheese. 1 tablespoon of dry basil. A couple teaspoons of red wine vinegar. 1 teaspoon of salt and a 1/2 teaspoon of black pepper. Why we're using 2 kinds of meat is so it can be very complex. Ground chuck, you can only get from a butcher. You'll never find it at your grocery store. You find just lean ground beef or medium ground beef or regular ground beef or whatever in your grocery store. And you can use that. It's still beef. And this is chuck is still beef. But chuck is going to give you more flavor. It's more fat, more big, bold, beefy flavors coming at you. You combine that with ground pork, man, it's just a magic combination. So let's add that, both of these, 250 grams of each, to our mix of those all ingredients we just put in that big bowl and get in there. And you want to make sure that you have a complete homogeneous mixture, folks. After you've mixed your meatball mixture, is get a sheet pan lined with parchment paper, and we're going to start making our meatballs. Approximately 25 to 30 meatballs. For tonight, what I'm using to make my 3/4 inch meatballs. If you don't have one of these, is I'm going to take one of these and I will scoop out and I will measure it to tell you, first off, how much of a tablespoon measurement it will be. And what we're going to do is we're going to put blobs on here first, then we'll go through after we've done that and shape each one. All right. So just grab a scoop of it. So I have a level scoop pretty much. I'll pop it in there and let's just see how much of a measurement this is. You're looking for a little bit of a rounded tablespoon measure. Okay. So it's not completely flat measurement, but it's not heaped either. So I'm going to go through and use my little scoop, all the blobs of meat on our parchment lined baking sheet. Let me show you. I'm just going to keep rolling these. So I'm just rolling around my hand, right, till I have perfect little balls of meat. Great. My meatballs are shaped for the sauce. The next ingredient, or the next few, we have in the bowl here already. Remember this? We have the carrot, the celery, the onion, the garlic. So to this, we're going to add 1 tablespoon dry oregano and 2 teaspoons of dry basil, and then salt and pepper. Here's the thing, gently seasoned, because if you look farther down the list, you will see salt and pepper again to taste. So you can't take salt and pepper out, but you can always add more at the end. So you just want to season a little bit. So add your salt, add your pepper. Oh yeah, so there's our meatballs. There's our pan for the sauce. Here's my pot, 2/3 full of water. I'm going to just bring that back up to a boil again, my pasta water. Let's preheat our pan for the sauce. Now it says medium to medium high. I'm going to add my 3 tablespoons of olive oil, and I'm going to add that 1 bowl of ingredients. So that's the carrot, celery, onion, garlic, oregano, basil, salt, and pepper that we talked about. Stir it in there, cook until soft, stirring frequently. In the meantime, I want you to get your meatballs in the oven. So mine are completely 3/4 inch. I'm going to put in the oven. I know 15 minutes are going to be fine for my meatballs. Good, you hear it sizzling in the pan, right? I'm just going to turn it down just a little bit. It's getting very hot. Next ingredient is our tomato paste. So a full can of tomato paste. Just stir it in, okay? Stir in the can of tomatoes, not drained. So the whole can, along with the wine, nice, beautiful red wine, and the beef broth, and we're putting in the sugar. Remember that 2 tablespoons of white sugar? That's going to go in as well, just to balance everything out. All those sharp notes from the tomatoes and the wine and the tomato paste. And so I'm going to turn it up to high, bring to a boil, and then simmer until desired consistency is reached, stirring occasionally, approximately 5 to 10 minutes. Now that we're at a full boil there, see that? I'm going to turn it down and maintain a simmer. I'm going to set a timer for 10 minutes. To get your pasta water prepared, what I want you to do is season it with some salt. I don't know, like a tablespoon of salt, tablespoon and a half. And we take that dry pasta. Don't break it, right? We're not making little tiny chicken noodle soup noodles. You want it nice and long. Long pasta should be celebrated and kept long and twirled on your spoon, right? You're going to sort of swirl it in the pot until it becomes pliable, and then push it in. Not push it in with your hand going in the water, but just push it in so it gets into the water. You need to stir it. This is your time to stir your pasta noodle, folks, because this is the time is where it's going to stick. There's my timer for the meatballs. Oh man, they smell good and they look fantastic. Look at this. And you can see like the little bits of melting cheese come out of them. You don't need to check all of them. Just find the bigger ones on your tray and just dive it in there. As long as you spot check 2 or 3. Okay, so again, we're looking for that 71 Celsius or 160 Fahrenheit. That one's good. Here's another big one. Easy. Yeah, we're done. My sauce is looking really good. I am going with the 1/2 cup whipping cream option. If you are not going with that option, this consistency of your sauce you want is ready to serve. Because I'm going with the option of whipping cream, and even though it's rich and it's thick, it's still fairly liquidy. I don't want this to be liquid, and then I add my whipping cream, it becomes way too liquid, then I have to reduce it down even more. Have it where it's a little bit thicker than you want if you're going for the whipping cream option, because that's going to add a little more liquid to that, even though it's thick. Shutting off my pasta water, taking my spaghetti and draining it. While that's draining, 33 to 35% milk fat whipping cream. This will not separate. Look at this beautiful color that it's making by adding the whipping cream to that. Wow. Remember, we need to season to taste. So nice pepper in there, some salt, right? Because you should put just a little bit. You can always add more. Oh yeah, man, that's good. Take our drained pasta that has not been rinsed, that has not been oiled, and add it to the sauce. We don't serve it separately at the table, folks. Never, never, never do that. Now to add these little balls of goodness to our mixture, combine all this together. I'm going to shut off my heat now because I'm done. You could take this and garnish this family style at the table, bring the whole pan to the table, or like I say, portion it out restaurant style, which we're going to do tonight. Here we go. Whenever you're plating long pasta, you need to use tongs. There's a reason for this, all right? There's a whole YouTube video that I did with how to plate pasta, and always use tongs for long pasta. Here's why. We're going to cover this. So we talked about already how the spaghetti is absorbing the pasta noodle. We want that, and also it's going to keep it from sticking because it's now coated with sauce, right? So what I want you to do is take your tongs and dive in there and just grab some of the noodles. Don't worry about the sauce chunks. Don't worry about the meatballs for now. Just grab some of the noodles and put it in your bowl. Put it in there. It allows you an opportunity to take and twirl it if you want to create some more height to your dish. Then if you look at tongs, they have 2 spoons on either end. That allows you to get in there and using one of the spoons to grab some sauce ingredients. And now you can put the sauce ingredients on the top where people are going to see it. So that all the chunks, the tomatoes, right, all the consistency we built with the mirepoix, it's going to go on top where you need to see it. But yet the pasta below is still coated and it's not going to stick. Now you can take a few meatballs, and however many meatballs you want to serve per portion, that's up to you. And then we need to garnish this. Look at that. Oh yeah, baby. And now we have a little bit of green with our finely chopped parsley. Let's bite into this. Meatballs. Hey, there we have it. National Meatball Day with yours truly, Chef Des, and the Chef Des Zoom classes. Spaghetti and meatballs, classic family favorite. See you next time, folks.